All right, we are live. Pro Football Focus halftime analysis. I am PFF Steve at PFF_Steve. Welcome. We've been doing this every Monday night, every Thursday night, all of our primetime games the last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody for joining in. How about that trade? Everybody wants to jump right into the Jamie Collins trade. A stunner. How about Jordan Howard? We'll get to all of it. Let's start with Jamie Collins, the news of the day, the Patriots trade what we think is one of the best linebackers in the league, and by many accounts, a lot of people who watch Jamie Collins think he's one of the best linebackers in the league. Of course, the story with New England not being able to sign him and Hightower and Malcolm Butler at the end of the season. So whether they were going to let Jamie Collins walk or not, I still think that he's a player that obviously would help them throughout much of the year. He did have a rough game yesterday against Buffalo. Did get taken to the end zone for a touchdown, missing a tackle, missed a couple gaps, struggled in coverage at times. He's inconsistent, I'd say, in man coverage, but he is not a bad player. Jamie Collins is a good player. He's one of the best pass rushing linebackers, just pure blitzing linebackers. When you isolate him on a running back, he's as good as it gets at pressuring the quarterback. He's a good striker in the run game, can take on blocks. Very athletic. They have a very good setup with Hightower blowing up blockers to let Jamie Collins make plays. And I think they lose a lot of speed at the linebacker position. Hightower is really good, probably a better all-around backer, but not as athletic as Collins. How's Mingo looked? Mingo's looked about what he's been. He's just not powerful enough. I like Mingo quite a bit. Have talked to a few people who think that Mingo, it's a combination of maybe Mingo and a Landon Roberts replacing what Jamie Collins is. Landon Roberts has been outstanding, rookie against the run. He's been great. So good to see that from him, but certainly a downgrade for New England from an athleticism standpoint because Collins brings a lot to the table. Jordan Howard, outstanding first half, big run, doing it in the pass game a little bit. Nice wide open catch for his touchdown, but I'll say, Howard's a guy we really liked a lot coming out of Indiana. Had more of a second round grade on him. I know he went later in the draft, so nice to see that from Howard. Anyway, that's my quick intro. We've got all of our analysts working hard on the game. We've got a lot of guys doing their player participation, who's on the field, where they're lining up. We've guys grading, collecting data. So hopefully we'll have some good halftime data for you guys, some stats, and some fun stuff to look at. Xavier Rhodes, I believe it's 0 for 4. The Bears are when targeting Xavier Rhodes or targeting Alshon Jeffrey. The caveat to that, though, Jeffrey was open for a drop in the end zone, so that was on him. He was also open on an out route that Cutler overthrew him. Also open on the pass that went right off the back of his head. So, there was a couple passes that may have skewed the stats in there just a little bit. Again, appreciate everybody coming in right now. Another fun week of NFL football. I thought that Dallas-Philadelphia game was pretty fun last night. More overtime. A lot of craziness going on. Do we have one person watch each game? We have about 15 people working on each game at the same time. And then each of those processes will get reviewed by probably another 15 or so people. All the same process. We'll have another group go through there. So it's all hands on deck to try to make sure that we can cover as much as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. I'll take any other questions we have tonight. I do look like an old school wrestler from the 80s. I could be The Undertaker. PFF grade Hail Mary plays? Yes. Essentially, the expectation for the quarterback is to get the ball somewhat into the middle of the end zone. So you see a pass like what Cutler just threw, and that's really not much different from the Hail Marys that Aaron Rodgers threw last year. Just landed in the middle of the end zone, and then it's all luck whether or not they're caught. We give the defender a little bit of credit if they knock it away. Ryan is the MVP at the moment. I don't know. Brady is playing well enough to get into that conversation. I know he missed 4 games. Really tough to put a guy that missed 4 games in the MVP conversation, but he's playing in a different stratosphere right now from the rest of the quarterbacks around the league. AJ Green MVP. I don't mind it. He's been outstanding, especially with Cincinnati, it's tough with the win-loss record is going to hurt his case. But A.J. Green, given not having Eifert, not having Marvin Jones, he's been outstanding this season. Julio has the case as well. Derek Carr's been playing really well. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. What else we have here, guys? Let me see if we have any information on first half analysis. So far, top players for the Bears. We have Adrian Amos on the back end, safety. Jarrell Freeman making some plays. Akeem Hicks got in on a sack. I'll tell you what, with this Vikings team, we took a lot of heat a couple weeks ago for not putting them near the top of the all-important PFF power rankings that everybody loves so much. And one of the reasons was the offensive line. I mean, their defense has been outstanding. I know they're giving up a little bit tonight, but Minnesota's offensive line is coming back to bite so far. And it's going to be difficult for them. I don't know if Bradford's been outstanding against pressure so far this season, but it's also, he's been playing at such a high rate, I think it's very difficult for him to be able to keep that up. How is McKinnon graded out this season? Let me take a look. I don't know offhand, to be honest. Let me take a look at McKinnon. He has been a little below average is where we have McKinnon, both as a receiver and in the run game. How good have QBs graded against Minnesota's defense? I love that question. So in our 0 to 100 grading scale, where 70 to 75 is about average, the best QB grade against Minnesota has been 58.6. 58.6. Cam Newton, I believe it was back in week 3. That was the best. So Aaron Rodgers, Marcus Mariota, Eli Manning, Carson Wentz just last week. All of those guys struggled mightily against this Minnesota defense. They're just so good at disguising their coverages, covering well on the back end, complementing it with a good pass rush. They do so much to keep quarterbacks off balance. Can the Ravens end up 10-6? Maybe. I don't love them. I just don't love a whole lot about the Ravens right now. Kind of starts with Flacco. Who's better, Mariota or Winston? I like Winston just a touch better than Mariota. I don't love the way Mariota's coming off his best game of the season, one of the best of his career. But against Jacksonville on Thursday night, looked very comfortable. But that's not how he's looked all season. Taking a slight step back. He's usually more consistent though, and Winston a little bit more up and down. Winston's upside, the best of Winston is better than the best of Mariota, but Mariota should settle in as a more consistent week-to-week player. Super Bowl pick. I always end up going Patriots-Packers at the beginning of the season. I do think New England looks like the best team in the AFC, but I'll say this. Denver still has this potentially elite defense that makes them dangerous. I know they're not the same offensively this year, and they're still missing some defensive pieces, but I do think Denver's defense is legit. Zeke for MVP. I feel like in the real-life voting, he's in there. I don't know that I'd put him there, given the surrounding pieces, the offensive line, but do love what he's doing for that offense in Dallas. And I'm not completely ready to put Dallas as the favorite in the NFC, but they are impressive every single week. But I will also say this, too. Dak Prescott did not play a good game last night. I tweeted that last night as they won. Everybody was getting caught up in the hype. Dak did not play well at all last night. Did end up, making the plays when it counted. Great job by him. But he threw an interception that probably should have ended the game. Bad red zone interception. Missed a ton of passes. I want to see how he bounces back from that entire game because he did not play up to what he was doing previously. What would Buffalo have to give up to get Alshon Jeffrey? I wouldn't do that right now. I don't know if this is the time of year to do that. It'd be a lot. It's going to cost a lot of money to sign him this offseason. Does Derek Carr struggle against the Denver defense? I do think he'll struggle a little bit. I mean, Carr has played great, and I do think just going up against that Denver pass defense brings every QB back down to earth. So I do think we'll see a more reasonable game from him when they play. Was they Thursday night? Oh, no, they're Sunday night. The Sunday night Oakland-Denver game. Why couldn't Pats get more than a compensatory third-rounder for Collins? Well, because he's a free agent, and to be honest, getting a compensatory third-round pick for 8 games of Jamie Collins is actually a huge haul for New England. So if you're just looking at it from a draft capital standpoint, the fact that they got a third rounder is high. The problem on New England's standpoint is they were probably going to get a third round pick anyway in a compensatory selection once he walks in free agency. So it ends up becoming pretty much a wash for Patriots and Collins. So clearly they wanted to get rid of him. So again, they have not. Apparently they're not as high as everyone else on his performance so far. Falcons defense improving. They're okay. You know, they're showing signs at times. I know Rodgers torched them a little bit yesterday. But to me, it's always been about that pass rush. And I'm just glancing at it right now. Yesterday, Grady Jarrett got after the quarterback pretty well. QB hit 3 hurries on only 26 rushes. Beyond that, nobody else had more than 3 hurries. Vic Beasley had a sack and 3 hurries. But not a great grade. It's all about the pass rush with the Falcons. They want to duplicate that Seattle system. They have to be able to create pressure with the front 4. That's Grady Jarrett. That's Vic Beasley. You know, of course, Dwight Freeney in those nickel situations. Bortles, the main problem in Jacksonville, or the O-line. I think there's a lot of problems in Jacksonville. Bortles is a big one of them, a big part of it. Bad decision-making, bad accuracy so far this year. Supposedly bringing in a QB guru to fix that. I don't have any good trades for Denver off the top of my head. Browns going 0-16. They'll win a game. Most teams usually do. They'll win a game. Razor Ramon is my comparison. I like it. Melvin Gordon does not suck. Is Jordan Howard the real deal? Absolutely, he is. Howard or Langford moving forward? Give me Howard. Does a lot more with the ball in his hands. Langford will get what is blocked. That's it. It might be Paxton Lynch time in Denver, though. When he started, though, he was not much better than what we've seen from Simeon these last couple weeks. I do think Simeon's regressed a little bit. League's caught up to him. The problem with Trevor Simeon is he just needs so much to go right. Game plan-wise, just needs everything to go smoothly. Needs the running game. Dion Lewis or James White. I'll tell you what, Dion Lewis last season, when he was healthy, just so fun to watch. Some of the cuts that he was making were just out of this world. So I love what Dion Lewis brings to the table based off what I saw last year. But, you know, James White's doing a heck of a job in that pass game. They isolated him for a couple touchdowns against Cincinnati a few weeks ago. So I think it's tough to replace White right now unless you know Dion Lewis is very healthy and bringing to the table what he did last season. Let's see. What else do we have here, guys? What's up with B. Marsh? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I don't have a good answer. I have not been able to watch the tape on the Jets just yet. We still had him with a positive grade. Did a nice job as a run blocker. Let me see. Targeted 8 times, 4 catches, 68 yards. It wasn't terrible. Not terrible for Marshall. Could use Decker, though. All right, guys. We're already in the second half. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to get to ProFootballFocus.com for even more analysis. Post-game, maybe. Thank you for asking. We'll see what type of feedback we get. Check out all of our podcasts, the NFL podcast, college, quarterback podcast, all on iTunes. Search them, find them, subscribe, like them, rate them 5 stars. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk soon.